Peace, family. Peace. We are now live. What's going on with y'all in the chat? What's up with everybody in the chat? Getting ready to have an amazing show. We live in some amazing times, like I've been telling y'all, and it's major opportunities for y'all, man, for all of us. What's going on with y'all in the chat? I got Alkebulan, the Dawn. Alkebulan, the Dawn, back in the welcome back, my brother.
Peace to the gods, peace to everybody, peace to the family. Like I've always said, like I'm feeling very illustrious right now, feeling very majestic. You know what I'm saying? We're in some amazing and interesting times, and I want to give the family an opportunity to, take in some information that'll allow them to tangibly actually interact, with the events that are taking place, as opposed to, just be observers of the events. Because as we all know, our ancestors, they were keen on understanding how, nature worked, and also too how to involve themselves in certain events like the Lions Gate, and like certain cosmic events just in general. So that's what we're gonna talk about. We're gonna get real sciencey with it, but I'm gonna make it relatable too. And it's also, I always encourage the family to do their due diligence and do the research as well, because all these terms that I'm gonna give out, are you can look them up. So, we're gonna talk about it.
Indeed, indeed. I see y'all in the chat heavy. All right. Everybody signing. Make sure you get comfortable. Get a pen and a pad. Tell your friends, family that we're live. We about to get started. Shout out to Dark Muse for the $5 super sticker. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the support, Dark Muse. We're gonna get to a couple of commercials and we'll be right back and we'll get started, family. All right. Don't forget to hit that like button. We'll be right back.
Hey there! Had a bad dream? I have dreams too. Some parts are scary and some parts are fun. Always remind yourself, it's only a dream and everything will be okay. I had a dream about being in a forest too. Check it out, my pet Petey was with me. Order your copy of Kayla Petey and the Forest on Amazon today.
Brooklyn, New York, are you ready? August 27th, King Simon will be there. Etoy Hairston will be there. Alison Nedra will be there. Lloyd Strayhorn will be there with special guests. Sister Cafunia Ife will be there. All happening at Nicholas Brooklyn Mini Workshop. Text now, call now to be there. Hey, this is King Simon, the International Numero Beta. Remember, get all my books on Amazon or go to Linktree/King Simon, the Numero Beta. And remember, don't forget to book my sessions at 347-496-1022. Book now.
All right, family. All right. I'm just chilling. I got me some tea today. Y'all usually see me drinking the water. I got me some tea today. The tea got me in a tranquil vibe right now. So I'm just vibing.
Okay.
Listen, so Alkebulan, a lot of talk about Lionsgate 88. There's been a lot of talk about it for the last couple of years. Dr. B Serious said this one in particular is extra special because of the photon belt that we are under, and some other things that's happening. But let us know. We always want to know what's going on in the cosmos because of the concept of as above, so below. So when things are happening up there, things are happening within us. So talk to us, tell the family to brief us, my brother. Report the news to us. What's going on in the cosmos at this time? Lionsgate 88, my brother.
Well, let's refer to, the article that just came out, in reference to, the planet spinning quicker,
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. Okay.
So, what's taking place, is the planet itself is, like Dr. B Serious was speaking about, is in a situation where we're moving closer to the galactic center, and when we're talking about the galactic center, we're talking about the black hole, Sagittarius A, the center of our Milky Way. So basically what's taking place is that, we're going through what you call a centripetal convergence toward that space. And it's allowing us access to a higher level of information. So with that being said, all of our ancestors, understood that when these dire times were taking place, it was our opportunity to, take in galactic intel, but we had to specifically align ourselves in a certain geometry in order to acquiesce to the information that was coming through. So with this specific Lions Gate, we're just that much more closer to the galactic center, which is the reason why they're saying that the planet is spinning faster. The perfect analogy I can give people is, when you pull the plug on the tub and you watch something, go down the drain, and as it gets closer to the center, it spins quicker and quicker. That's in essence of what is actually taking place, by way of the proximity of us in relationship to the galactic center. So this is, like I said, something that we can actually participate in. And, speaking on mathematics more specifically, when you understand that, we are, so let's draw back to the equation of Albert Einstein, right? So we talk about E equals mc squared, which actually means human mass equals energy times the speed of light. So when you look at the body, it's a body or a mass. So when you have, the fact that we are moving faster on the planet, that means that we as a people, not only the planet, but we as a people are moving or accelerating quicker. So to participate in that, we got to understand that, by way of mass accelerating, which is the human body, you got two forces that are working against you. You got a force that is accelerating you further, and then you got a force that is pushing you backwards. But the balance of these two forces are going to determine how fast the mass moves. And I always talk about the fact that you have to master the spin symmetry of the universe by remaining neutral in moments like these. But more specifically, in order to accelerate and move with the times of the planet, the very basic thing that you have to do is follow your heart. And it sounds very vague, but in essence, this is what the science of Ptah was teaching in ancient Kemet. Because if you notice in the front of him, he's holding the Jed pillar with the Waset. And in actuality, when you are doing something you love to do, you are extrapolating charge from gravity by way of the heart, which is accelerating you quicker than the average person, which deems you, a god or goddess in real time because you're following or phase locking with nature. So in essence, when the planet is moving quicker, put your attention on something that you love doing, which is going to accelerate you further than the average person by way of the heart perturbating or beating at a different rate. You see? So, this is, again, another observation that we see happening in real time, but that something that we can actually participate in. And that energy that you accumulate, by doing something you love doing is your energy content. And that is, in essence, what's going to take you further, in reference to whatever, you desired in that moment, and as far as, a passion or a purpose or whatever you're trying to fulfill. But the planet is spinning faster, again, because we're moving towards the galactic center, which is giving us more access to information. And let me go ahead and plug in the God Body Challenge, that I always throw for the family. We got that going on August 7th. So August 7th is a day prior to the Lions Gate. So I want to make sure, everybody's body, is fit enough to receive the information that's coming through. So it's going to be August 7th to August 12th. And August 12th is a day of Sirius, the helical rising. So I'm literally ritualizing this fast by way of allowing the body to acquiesce at a state that it can receive the information that's coming through from the photon belt by way of us moving faster toward the galactic center. And when people reference Big Mama, when they're talking about Big Mama, or they're talking about the galactic center, the black hole in the center of the Milky Way. And all of our ancestors understood that this black hole is what modulates the information that's coming to us by way of using the sun as a medium via the sunspots to deliver the information to us. So, this is our opportunity to get in line by way of putting ourselves in a discipline to allow the body to raise its voltage to thus receive the information that's coming through. And again, all of our ancestors were demonstrating this. You look on the walls, you see their hands, positioned straight up to the sun. You see them kneeling in a certain position. You see them standing on a base. They understood that these events, like the Lions Gate, is electricity or electrical discharge that's taking place and information coming through. So you would even see on the glyphs that they're always standing on a base. They're always standing on a base. They're never standing on something that's flat. And that base is what you call a insulator. And by way of them standing on an insulator like glass, wood, it allowed them to process as much electricity as possible. So then when they step off the base, they discharge the electricity to either the planet or somebody outside of them that they're trying to heal. So, you know, in essence, again, it's a full-on demonstration by way of understanding not only what our ancestors did, but acquiescing to the times that we're in via the Lionsgate to receive the information that's coming through. So the God Body Challenge, again, is August 7th. And that's, you know, exactly what we're doing. We're ritualizing a fast by way of demonstrating ourselves as the ancestors that we are living today, you know, to receive the download, what we call that's coming in directly from the Galactic Center, you know, so.
Mm-hmm. The Lionsgate that happens on 8/8, what the information that comes through this year and with the us being in the photon belt, what level? Because I'm trying to figure out how to access. It seems a little different now. I was talking to people yesterday, and I was saying I'm talking about dead people I know. Their ESP is like heavy right now, and the regular people too, like brothers like me and you. I talked to Blue Pill, Rod Hayes, everybody I talked to on the phone. It's like, oh, Rich, I was just thinking about you. Oh, this, oh, that. It's like they could, motherfuckers could read my mind right now. And I had this dead person call the other day. I don't want to say the name, but they was like seriously tapped in to something that was going on in my house. Like my son had something happened with his leg. He hurt his leg, not hurt his leg bad, but he hit his leg, and they called and they like, yo, is everything all right? You know, y'all cross my spirit or whatever. This a pork eating motherfucker. I mean, we eat pork for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So when you do the God Body Challenge, and I hear everybody talk about health, I'm in terms of these downloads, it seems like you don't really have to be healthy to get these gifts that the universe is giving out right now.
I mean, that's truly just a testament to how powerful we are as a people. As somebody who eats pork and drinks alcohol, eats McDonald's, is tapped in on a whole nother level. That's just a testament to tell you, like, imagine if you start taking the herbs, if you start fasting, if you start grounding, imagine where you will be at. You see what I'm saying? So you can use that as a gauge to understand how powerful we are as a people. But again, melanin itself is photoreceptive, which allows us the opportunity to absorb the whole electromagnetic spectrum, which is information. So by default, the average person is going to receive a download because we are naturally, you know, tethered to the universe by way of, you know, the body itself, the highest form of technology, which is the black body. You know, so again, I would use that as a gauge. That just goes to show again how powerful you are as a people. And when the average person can tap in like that, just imagine if you were to really discipline yourself, you know, and do what you know you're supposed to be doing by way of, you know, elevating the body physically. You know?
How much time would you say we have in a day now? Like, you know, we've been taught since we were young, we got 24 hours in a day. The earth is spinning fast. What do you think? We got like 16 hours, 18, 20? Like, how much time do you think is in it? Because time is like, I got this comment on the screen and say every day is a blur. Like, that's literally my life. Every day is just like, oh shit, the day's over. I got a show right now. It's just a blur. So what would you say?
I mean, you know, well, first of all, time is, you know, relative. To be honest, you know, because again, when we start gauging Western science's time, we start looking at life from a linear perspective, and we no longer look at it from a holistic perspective. So when we look at it from that way, it's equivalent to us now thinking that we're running a race. And when we think we're trying to get somewhere from a destination, that literally begins to pull on the tissues. And when you begin to stress the tissues, that's when age starts to happen. And age is nothing but advanced glycation in. So it's all reference to perception. So if I can begin to look at my life from a holistic perspective, understanding that even down to the Olmecs knew that days were actually tones, you know, and tones are cued to the galactic harmonic. When I say the galactic harmonic, I'm talking about the galactic center. But this is how you set the tone of the day, by acquiescing to a higher way of living on each tone, or what we call day to day. So in order to elevate to a higher octave, you got to resonate or do something that is going to allow you to resonate at a higher frequency. So they understood that days were tones. They didn't look at time per se as through numbers. They used numbers as galactic cues in order to gauge what was going on within the cosmos. So this is why I necessarily don't look at Western time, because once you begin to do that, you begin to have an anatomical response by way of your circadian rhythm. And it responds by way of you looking, engaging life from a linear perspective, as opposed to how our ancestors will look at it from a holistic perspective, you see. So to me, I don't know how many numbers are, I don't know it, you know, again, time is relative. I could be doing something that's exciting today and time seems like it's going quicker. But again, that's by way of us literally following our passion, doing something we love doing, which is allowing us to fold space and time. And in mathematics, that's called torsion tension. Torsion tension. Okay, so time is all relative, and I don't necessarily gauge it from a Western science perspective. I just understand that each day when the sun is up, you live better than you did the day before, which is going to raise you at a higher octave, and thus, you know, impede that information, you know, on the planet. Then the planet impedes that onto the sun then impedes that into the galactic center, and now you're naturally phase locked with nature. You know, so.
Yeah, that's interesting. You said the ancestors look at days as like tones, and as a musician, understanding tones in a musical scale and a solfeggio scale. If you just say do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, and then do is the first do at a higher octave. So like Monday will be do, Tuesday would be do, re, Tuesday would be re. So that's interesting when you look at it like that. If we observe it from a musical perspective and we say the days of the week is like the solfeggio scale or an octave, you know how we start with do. Do we still start with Monday, or do we in ancients did they change the day of the week? Like what day will we start with if it's the top of the scale?
So again, like that's all based on, you know, how you set the tone of the day, you know. So in reference to you living a certain discipline by way of acquiescing to a higher state of living, by way of eating, exercising, electrifying the body, you're going to set the tone of the day. So it, you know, and then by doing this, you're going to allow yourself to communicate with nature, because our ancestors understood what you call piezoelectric infrasound. So everything resonates, everything oscillates, which produces a sound. They would then refer that sound back to nature and thus create that symbiotic relationship to it. But the only way that they can hear sound is to live a higher vibration by way of, again, doing things like eating, you know, clean, exercising, getting sunlight, you know, and living a higher lifestyle. Because when you do that, you begin to electrify the body, which again raises your voltage. And, you know, as we all know, we're all an amalgamation of cells. And cells are capacitors by way of what you call phospholipids within the membrane. So when you elevate and you begin to eat a certain way and electrify the body, that's going to literally allow you to tap into a higher frequency to hear sound that the average person couldn't hear, you see. And again, that's called piezoelectric infrasound. So this is what our ancestors were familiar with. So the tone will be all in reference to how you set it by way of waking up in the AM and literally doing something that's going to raise the frequency to allow you, or allow nature to communicate to you. And you know, you demonstrate your way, that you demonstrate your days that way.
What does I didn't hear you mention the Sirius, the star. How much is this tied into the Lionsgate portal?
It's tied in a lot, honestly. Yeah, so you know, we can get into that. So basically, you know, okay, so basically Sirius, what we call Sirius today, is what they refer to. Some people refer to as the black sun. You know, some people would say that, you know, our sun that we see in our atmosphere is, you know, what's receiving the light from Sirius. But you know, Sirius in essence, you know, is actually moving around Sirius A. And what's taking place is the gravitational pull of Sirius B is so strong that it's pulling what you call hydrogen ions off of Sirius A. Sirius A serves as a support system for Sirius B. You see, so as this is happening, these hydrogen, or what we call hydrogen ions, are being delivered through the solar system, stimulating the solar flares that are occurring today and yesterday and the day before, which is all information. So what's supposed to take place so we about to go there. What's supposed to take place is, the ancestors understood that there is a very valuable relationship with, you acquiescing to the information that's coming through, but more specifically, that's by way of sun gazing. So this is the full-on demonstration of what really the Lionsgate represents. And I got this download as well back in 2021, very random, but very kind of, mind-blowing. August 4th, I was actually looking up some pictures of the Sphinx, just to post, I was going to post about the Lionsgate or whatever. And the first image that I pulled up was Louis Armstrong. Now, mind you, it was Louis Armstrong, but the image was him playing a trumpet with his wife, but behind him was the Sphinx. And I said, okay, that's kind of dope. I guess I never seen that image. But I said, let me look a little further. Let me actually look into Louis Armstrong and see what his birthday is. That's the first thing I did. I recognized that his birthday was on August 4th, the same day that I came across him blowing the trumpet in front of the Sphinx. So I said, okay, that's allowing me and letting me know that I'm moving in the right direction. So with that being said, I then looked in, of course, the Sphinx a little bit and things of that nature. But long story short, what happened was, or what's supposed to actually take place is we are supposed to wake up in the AM on the 8th and literally watch the sun crack the horizon. Now, mind you, again, Sirius is delivering hydrogen ions or information through the sun, and then we're receiving it via the sun. So the idea is to wake up in the rising, sun gaze soon as the sun cracks the horizon. This is the reason why, or one of the reasons why, the Sphinx is facing the east. And there's no coincidence why the Sphinx is a lion. But at that moment, we are demonstrating ourselves as the Sphinx. And I could have sworn there was an article that came out. I feel like I ran across it. Somebody sent it to me and they said that the Sphinx had opened its eyes or something, or closed its eyes. I think opened its eyes. And I got to look further into that. But it was an article that came across really quick, but I didn't do a deep dive into it. But in essence, what's supposed to take place is sun gazing. And, these hydrogen ions that are coming from Sirius via the sun, that light then stimulates and hit the eyes. Now, what happens is when that light comes through the eyes, it stimulates a part of the brain. The part of the brain that is stimulating is called the thalamus reticular nuclei. The thalamus reticular nuclei have what you call pacemaker cells. These are the actual nuclei that sit on the thalamus. So when that part of the brain is stimulated, that then triggers an electrical current in the cerebral cortex, which is then responsible for raising your level of consciousness. So what they showed in Kemet, this being a reference to a glyph, was if you see in Kemet a falcon with a sun disk on its head, that's exactly what it's talking about. It's talking about the medulla oblongata being a falcon, and then the sun disk being the thalamus. So by way of stimulating that thalamus, you're creating a reaction within the cerebral cortex, which is taking you to a 32 vertebrae to a 33 vertebrae, or what they say, raising the kundalini or things of that nature. But that is what is responsible for raising your level of consciousness. So that is in full demonstration of what it represents. And also, too, I'm gonna read because this was the final download for me. I'm gonna read something real quick. Ezekiel 44. And this is what brought it home for me in reference to what the Lionsgate really represented by way of sun gazing. As soon as you wake up in the rising, and I'm gonna read this really quick. So it says, so this is Ezekiel 44. It says, It says, then the man brought me back to the outer gate of the sanctuary, the one facing east, and it was shut. The Lord said to me, the gate is to remain shut. It must not be open. No one may enter through it. It is to remain shut because the Lord, the God of Israel, has entered through it. The prince himself is the only one who may sit inside the gateway to eat in the presence of the Lord. He is to enter by way of the portico, which is a portico is a pillar, by way of the portico of the gateway and go out the same way. Then the man brought me by way of the north gate to the front of the temple. I looked and saw the glory of the Lord filling the temple of the Lord and fell face down. So when I received that, that told me, okay, that's exactly what the Lions Gate represents. It's the fact that those, and this is the other part of the Lions Gate too, because a lot of people talk about, those who aren't, who are running off of ego a lot, are going to get pretty much devoured during the Lions Gate. And then those who are running with an open heart are going to be the ones to receive the information. So, even last year, we seen a lot of people go down during the Lionsgate, and we don't have to get into that, but there was a lot of people running off of ego who's faking the funk. And that's what's going to happen after the Lionsgate takes place, is a lot of people who's out here faking a funk is going to be exposed. But in essence, those who are running with an open heart are the ones who reference in the Bible, the ones who are going to be able to see the Lord face to face or be able to walk through the gates. So again, by way of running with an open heart is to acquiesce to a full-on demonstration of what the sun Lionsgate represents, which is sun gazing. So that is in essence of what the true definition of what that represents. And again, this is why I'm throwing the God Body Challenge around this time as well, because it's going to allow the people to tap into a higher level by way of, removing food from the diet and allowing the body to receive the information. So, that's in essence what the cause of, or how Sirius is playing a role in this Lionsgate. We're actually receiving information from Sirius, and that information from Sirius is again stimulating a part of the brain, but it's also stimulating glands or glands that are pretty much laying dormant. So these are glands that respond to higher frequencies. People are saying they're hearing like ringing in the ears, or their hands are itching and tingling and things of that nature, or they feel lightheaded, things of that nature. That's all again coming by way of Sirius. Because again, Sirius is the hydrogen ions that are being delivered through the sun to us, and we receive them through the eyes during the Lionsgate, which again is going to stimulate those part of the glands that are laying dormant and bring them to the surface. I think your mic is muted.
Yeah, it is muted. I'm sorry. Yeah, I said, you really broke it down just now. I'm gonna have to watch that part over and take some notes. I hope y'all was really listening to that. That was some real science right there. And what's the deal with we used to hear Bobby Hemmett talk about this a lot, and the brother Red Pill, I heard him recently mention it, the Jason months, July, August, September, October, November, and how important that is cosmically, because August falls right in there along with the Lionsgate. What's the deal with the Jason months?
So basically it's all in reference to, where the proximity of the planet is compared to higher star systems. And, when you have a flux of information coming through that is cosmic, the whole goal is to basically eliminate or create a fear tactic within the individuals that have the capacity to receive the information. So, they build rituals around these certain events because they understand that there's a large amount of compression that's being applied through space. And when you have compression, you then have acceleration, which is what we call gravity today. When compression becomes acceleration, that's what gravity is today. So the minute I throw something up and it comes down is a testament that You know, and we'll get it. We can explain that too. But compression becomes acceleration. But when you have certain planets, our planet specifically, in a certain proximity of higher star systems, that level of compression or acceleration increases, which then forces and gives melanated people specifically the capacity to receive a higher level of intel. And that again comes through intuition, that comes through insight, that comes through, you know, what we call downloads. But in order to combat that, you got to create a fear tactic that is going to have an anatomical effect on our body specifically. And when that happens and they start to play the psyops through television and seeing us get killed on TV over and over, certain music is then now being produced around these months. That's not going to allow us to refract the light that's coming through because we're at a, you know, of course, like a lower vibration. So, you know, the Jason months are powerful, and only again because of the fact that our planet itself is in a higher is closer to higher star systems, that is allowing us to receive or the opportunity to receive information that's coming through. So it's really just a psyop. That's what the Jason months represent: psychological operation, basically to social engineer, you know, the melanated people, so that way we can become distracted and focus on fear as opposed to understanding that there's cosmic events that are taking place.
Indeed. Nah, definitely. Once again, family, we just passed the first half an hour mark. I want to thank everybody that's in the chat room. Shout out to King Simon in the chat room. He's talking about what sacrifice. Okay, yeah. Shout out King Simon and everybody in the chat. Make sure you hit the like button. I'm with Alkebulan the Don. Alkebulan 44. We going in on the Lionsgate portal and a much unnecessary conversation with everything that's going on right now. Somebody just mentioned something that I definitely want to ask you about, and I'm glad they brought it up and reminded me in the chat. This star, I think it's a part of Orion's belt. We hear Brother Panic talk about it, the Betelgeuse. We hear about Sirius. How important is Betelgeuse and everything that's going on right now with us rising consciously right now?
Okay, so when we look at like Betelgeuse, when we look at stars in general, we got to understand that, you know, we call stars portals. And the perfect movie that I can reference is the movie called Stargate. If you notice in the movie Stargate, you know, they're dealing with a portal, but you notice the portal has a liquid, you know, atmosphere. It has like a liquid type of, and it's in a lot of movies. You know, they always showcase like portals that have like a liquid exterior. That's a star. That's a star. That is plasma that is intelligent because it's being compressed at a certain level. And the more compression you have, the more density of information you have in one space, which makes that plasma intelligent and conscious. So even down to, and I'm gonna go back to what I was speaking about, but I'm gonna use this analogy. You notice like in video games or like in you know, scary movies, it'd be like two of the good guys running away from the villain or the bad guy. And you notice the two good guys always get the opportunity to jump through the portal, but then immediately when the bad guy comes, it closes or it doesn't allow him to come through. That's in essence what's happening to the individuals during the Lionsgate who are running off the ego and faking the funk. They're not going to be able to get through the portal, receive the information because of heart coherence. And that's by way of understanding that plasma is conscious. So when you understand that plasma is conscious, plasma is mindful. So it's going to allow those who are running on truth to receive the information, but those who are not to completely miss it. And that's equivalent to, again, the villain never gets to go through the portal when the good guys go through it. And again, the plasma is mindful. It's mindful. It knows exactly what's taking place because it's conscious. So when we look at Betelgeuse, Betelgeuse is a star. Betelgeuse is just like the portal in Stargate. It's a ball of plasma that's conscious. You know, so with that being said, with it is existing in Orion star constellation, we also have to understand that Orion star constellation is a Stargate as well. And a lot of the wars that were taking place, you know, millions of years ago, you know, when we were talking about more like on a galactic level, it was really a battle for different environments in reference to stargates, because that's how you get to different dimensions within space. Even today, with the physical wars that we see taking place, whether it's Russia or Ukraine, their idea is to find a place of real estate where portals exist. And they understand that the science of portals is been around since, you know, we were on this planet. But in essence, with Betelgeuse specifically, they're speaking about that star dying out. And so when a star dies out, there's a supernova that takes place. They call it a supernova. And when a supernova takes place, a supernova basically is when waves implode on themselves and apply compression. And again, when you have compression, you produce acceleration, which is what we call gravity. So that's what then begins to speed up time, as they say. But with that being said, there's information that's also coming through as well. So understanding that Betelgeuse is exploding is just a signal to let us know that not only is the Orion star constellation, Stargate, opened up, but also too, this is allowing a flux of information to come through. So then our goal is to make sure that we acquiesce to it by, again, disciplining ourselves physically to receive the information that's coming through.
Indeed. What I notice, you know, the conversation of the heart comes up a lot, especially in this day and times, and the importance of tapping into that heart energy. And I notice, I see so many people. It's fairly easy for somebody to change. I wouldn't say fairly easy, but I've seen so many brothers change their diet, become vegan. I've seen so many intellectual brothers and sisters, and just not brothers, sisters as well. I've seen so many intellectual brothers and sisters able to read information, regurgitate information, understand certain levels of information intellectually. But I haven't met a lot of people that are able to tap into the power of the heart. And it's not something they say, and you feel it. You feel the aura on that person. Why do you think the fears of the heart seems to be the hardest thing? Intellectualism can everybody could do that. Veganism, a nigga could change his diet or whatever. But when it comes to this heart talk, that seems to be one of the hardest of fears in humanity. But it's also one of the most important things, because like you said, that portal closes and a lot of people are cut off from certain access because they don't know how to access that heart space. Why is it so hard, it appears, for humanity?
Well, the goal is to, the goal is to embed the array. You know, and what I mean specifically is, you know, the heart space, you know, how do you cultivate the heart? You cultivate the heart by studying, being studious. You know, because the heart is what generates the magnetic field. How do you embed the array? You got to strengthen the magnetic field. How do you strengthen the magnetic field? You got to take in information, not only information, but you got to take in higher levels of information. So, you know, going even deeper on another level, we're speaking about physics now. So when you look at Tahuti and Kemet, Tahuti was the scriber. If you look at Freemasonry, you notice that the checker floors represent the black and the white. But what they're speaking about is the fact that they understand through physics is that we oscillate in and out of existence faster than the speed of light. So we are constantly flickering back and forth. The objective then is to take on higher levels of information. So that way, once we flicker out of existence, we dump that information back into the universe, upgrade it, and thus by nature, the universe is going to upgrade our reality because we're teaching the universe outside of its own reference point what it is by giving it higher levels of information. So with that being said, what was the original question, Rich? I just went on.
Well, let me put this back on. It just seems hard for people to operate from that heart space. I get the intellectualism. I've seen it over and over again. I've sat and talked with countless speakers, but it's rare. And you see people go vegan, and that has nothing to do with the heart. But it just seems hard for the humanity in general, conscious or not, for people to tap into this power of the heart and to get this heart information. See, it just seems to be real hard.
Right. So basically, going off of what I just said, the idea is to resonate at a higher level by way of upgrading the universe by taking on higher levels of information here in the physical reality. Because as we are scribing our narrative in our physical reality, understanding and aware that we're flickering in and out of existence. When we're doing that, we're upgrading the universe. Thus, the universe is going to upgrade our physical reality. But that's also going to allow us to acquiesce to a higher level of information via the magnetic field. Again, how do you cultivate the heart? You remain studious. So when you remain studious, that strengthens the magnetic field, because the magnetic field is what moves beyond the physical body and remains conscious when we transition. So it is those who are doing the work. And those who are doing the work are those who are diligent, who also develop a level of compassion, because your heart, again, generating the magnetic field is like a compass, but you can't say compassion without saying compass. So when you allow yourself to be studious,